22 West. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Golden Spotlight. I'm your host, Rob Flores, and welcome to the show. We are broadcasting live from California State University, Long Beach. We are 22 West Radio. 22 West Radio is 22westmedia.com and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3 Long Beach, Los Angeles. We're going to rewind right now because I should have read that one first. But hey, I haven't been here in 2 weeks and I was injured. And yeah, so welcome to the Golden Spotlight, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Yeah. So, if this is your first time listening to the show, a little about the show, this is a biography show. Yes, every week I interview someone different and have them share their story. I ask them a question, and pretty much the fun thing about this is always when I book a guest, I've never met them before, and I'm getting to know them too at the same time with you guys. So, here we go. I would like my guest to please introduce himself.
My name is Aaron Monte. I'm a comedian, a musical comedian, writer, and just a cool person, I guess. Just that was for you. I'm letting you know that I'm a cool person since we don't know each other.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. So I like to start off, step by step. The funny thing. People used to be like, hey, can you, send me the questions? Because, I'd like to know what you're going to ask me. I'm like, oh, okay. And I would send a little bit of questions, and they would be like, okay. So this girl was on my show, right, from a company. She wrote a little bit of a bio. She wrote a little paragraph, but, somehow she fit her whole life story in one paragraph in a little notebook. I'm like, so then I was like this, and then I grew up like this, and then I was in college, and then like this, and then like this, and that's my story. I'm like,
so she just had it all ready to go when she came in?
She read her whole bio, she just wrote it all on one page. I'm like, it's great, but
you got a whole hour to fill.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you going to do now?
And I remember one of my mentors in my old college, my community college, he's like, no, see, you could be like, it's a biography show, but I don't necessarily have a set questions,
right? Because
the idea is I bring people from all kinds of different professions and stuff, and there's no one size fits all questions.
Right,
I'm not gonna be like, so how did you fix a engine or whatever? And I'm like, what? I'm like a doctor or whatever. I don't know. It just doesn't tailor towards that.
Right. So I came. I was just like, man, I don't know what's gonna happen.
So my advice is
for anything.
It feels natural. It feels spontaneous. The answers are gonna be. The first time you ask the question, the first time they hear the question, it's going to be more spontaneous, more different. If they know the question in advance, they're going to probably be like, a quick one-liner.
Yeah, it's not real conversation.
Yeah.
Not real conversation.
So, tell me about, life growing up. What was elementary like? And, did you grow up with siblings?
Yeah, I grew up in Inglewood, California, born and raised. I grew up with an older sister, younger brother. Named Desi and Austin, and I was with my parents. Were both in my house. My dad was a deputy sheriff. My mom was a teacher, and it was cool. I mean, Inglewood was rough growing up. It's super nice now, but it was a rough city. But my parents kept me grounded and kept me busy and always reading books and stuff constantly. And yeah, so it was basically just trying to stay solid in the hood, basically. And now I got a whole stadium growing out of the ground, so it's all nice now. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Another thing, that of course, if those of you who are just listening to the live audio version, that's audio. But here, I also incorporate video. As you can see, there's different cameras staring at my guest.
Right.
And it's funny because there's the competition, right? Where people can there's these judges that they'll look at college shows and stuff. And I remember one of the feedback they say is, he looks distracted. He's staring at his phone. And this person's saying the life story. And this guy's just staring at his phone he doesn't know what he's doing. He's like, you're being rude to your guest. And I'm like, no, I'm my own board operator. I'm,
you're doing it all.
Yeah, plugging in commercials.
Right.
And,
what commercials do you have on this thing?
So, yeah, most of them are, even, for the community and like the campus itself.
Oh,
Maybe
got
there's
it.
like clubs on campus or whatever, and we're like promoting them and stuff.
Oh,
and
that's
putting
dope.
them on there.
I would say this. I was listening to the wrestling one,
Yeah.
and he knows so much. What was your co-host
Ethan?
name? Ethan. He knows so much about wrestling.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it was funny that he's presenting it like it's like NPR, like.
Yeah, and that's the thing too.
remember
We took
last
a
time, Chris
newspaper
Jericho.
class together.
Oh, really?
And I remember, because like I was known for like being quiet, and I'm like, I've never seen him speak. And you know, I'm like, well, they think I don't speak, and I know that people think he don't speak.
Right.
But if you look at his social media, he posts a lot about wrestling. I'm
Mhm,
like, and I remember talking to my advisor in my old college. I'm like, you know, I really feel like I need to do an extra thing on the side. He's like, what do you mean? Well, yeah, I mean, I feel kind of like PBS-ish, kind of. Like, all I do is I'm the guy that interviews people. You know, like, serious. He's like, well, what would you have in mind, Rob? What if I do a show that's like a wrestling? He's like, are you sure about that? Like, why don't you tell one of the sports guys maybe they'll do like a 5-minute segment? I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it's possible to talk a whole hour of wrestling.
Wrestling.
It is.
It is.
Like, I don't know. Like, he kind of like brushed it off. And like, I won an award for the interview show, and he's like, he still kind of like turned me down. Like, I don't know yet. Like, and it's funny because then I'm like, you know what? I got an idea. I'm gonna interview my buddy Ethan, and I'm gonna tell him that I'm gonna interview him, and then we're gonna talk about the newspaper, how we're doing in class. I'm not even gonna tell him what my agenda is. So I interview him and my advisor at that time, because we had multiple advisors for the station at the old school, and I'm like, that's his planning period. He's not teaching. He's gonna sit at the desk over there, and he's gonna be overhearing. I asked maybe 5 minutes how school, and then I literally asked them all wrestling. I'm like, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you
And he was like,
that?
remember last year Chris Jericho had 17 chairs smashed over his head consecutively. Let's see how he does this year.
Well, that's why it was perfect. It worked out, and he's like, all right, you can go ahead and do your wrestling show. I'm like, yes, because I don't want to be thought of that, oh, he's the serious PBS just kind of guy. Let's do his interviews. I'm like, no, I could talk
funny.
about wrestling and kind of be dorky and be like the sidekick, like in the Tonight Show, kind
Right,
of the one
right,
that's in the corner. So, yeah, something different.
That's funny.
But yeah, I just had to throw that out there. I know some people, that comment of the judge kind of like made me like concerned, like, yeah, let me just bring this to the attention of my guests. Like, oh yeah, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm like, yeah, yeah, something about your life. I'm just right here on my phone. No, I'm doing lots of things that are components to the show.
Right.
But yeah, so back to our story.
Right, yeah, we got sidetracked like crazy.
Yeah. So elementary, were you like very different from your siblings as far as interests and stuff like that?
Yeah, my brother was always wanted to be a police officer, like from the day he was born, because my dad was a police officer our life, so he grew up wanting to be in the Army or be a police officer or anything in that field. And I was, my sister was, I don't know what my sister wanted to do all her life, but she was always, we were all very silly people, but my interests were always like writing or something in the arts or literally anything where I could perform and just be silly and be fun. You know what I mean? I was always reading, writing a story, making comic books. They used to think I was weird for that, low key. But it was just expressing myself, and that was all I really wanted to do. And hopefully, I want to be an author. So everything I did, I was like, man, this could be a book. Like, you know what I mean? I could write this, and a story in school. I could write this and make it into a book. And everything I did in school was always like thinking out of the box. Like, if I had an opportunity to make sure my teacher laughed at something, I did it. Like if it was like a presentation, I always did it within the limits of school too. Like it wasn't like disrupting class. It was just like, man, if I get to go up there and talk to the teacher, I bet you I'll make them laugh on Mesopotamia for sure. So I was I was very smart too. So I was always having my head in a book, and they didn't read. My brother and sister don't read, so that's why they don't read more. I don't know if they read. I'm lying.
Did you have certain favorite things to watch on television at the time in your childhood?
Oh man, I love cartoons. I wanted to be a cartoonist at one point in time. I still do. Like that's still part of my my dream. But when I was a kid, I loved cartoons. Courage the Cowardly Dog was my favorite show. It's so weird. It's so weird and funny, and it made me laugh more because my dad liked it. So my dad was walking through, he started laughing at him, and I'm like, oh, this is funny then. It must be funny. My dad thinks it's funny, and it was. creepy and funny, and it's everything that you could ask for a show. What else did I like? That's the main one, Billy and Mandy. I think it's just like creepy, funny stuff is what it was. I think that's what was the main thing. SpongeBob, of course. Like, who doesn't like that show? What else? I'm trying to think of a show that wasn't a cartoon that I watched. That's it. Justice League was also great. It's all cartoons. It's just anything that was on Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon. Friday nights used to be lit when we was kids. Like getting off school and going home watching cartoons Friday night. Mom used to make me go to piano practice, and I used to hate it. Man, I'm missing all the cartoons, man. What do I do with these cartoons I'm missing? But yeah, that was my favorite thing. Yeah.
Cool. So, was this also like the time where there was like Fox Kids and like Kids WB and all that stuff?
Yeah. Oh man, you know what's crazy about those shows? The only one I vividly remember is the Jackie Chan show. Remember that show?
Yeah.
The Uma Guagua 5G Time. Remember that? Oh man,
yeah.
the grandpa used to.
And all that stuff.
That was my favorite one. But the other ones I like vaguely remember. The one was like It's Bobby or something like that. It's Bobby's World. Yeah. Okay. Animaniacs was crazy. Oh man.
Wacko. I love the 99-cent store episode.
Animaniacs had some of the wildest jokes for adults in there. And no one knew. Like, no one was shutting it down. It was just like, man, that's all right, whatever. It's because Steven Spielberg made it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all Steven Spielberg's fault.
And then, Goosebumps and, like, Power Rangers, all that stuff.
You know, I didn't like Goosebumps like that. It was cool, but whenever live action people are trying to be scary, it ain't scary to me. I don't know what it is. And then the acting was like, I was a critic as a kid. And this acting is terrible. Let's turn on Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Dexter.
Oh, yeah. How did I forget about that? Dexter's Lab, Ed, and Eddie. My mom thought I was having nightmares because of Ed, and Eddie. She was like, you can't be watching cartoons, but after 9 o'clock, you'd have nightmares. And I was like, nah, it's not going to happen. I may have been. I had bad nightmares. I had really bad night terrors. Just screaming in the middle of the night. Man, anyways.
It's funny because now today, like, my sister looks back on those too. Like, it's cool that she's liking the stuff that I grew up watching.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something because she loves, for some reason, like, mystery and, like, conspiracy theories. And apparently there's a conspiracy theory that, like, Ed and Eddie were dead because their tongues are different colors and stuff. Like, what? I just want those normal kids hang out, have fun.
In the cul-de-sac. It's on the cul-de-sac. You know what's crazy? I've heard like 5 different TV cartoon shows where the kids are supposedly, the theories that they're dead. And they're like, why do you want to kill Tommy Pickles from the Rugrats so badly? Why are we killing Timmy Turner like that? Like, just let them be cartoons. Like, what are we killing them for? Relax. Nobody thinking about that. Oh, man.
So, by any chance, I know, obviously you were overhearing, the show before, but did you ever flip the channel to WWF and all that stuff?
I found out when I was real little that wrestling was fake. And after that, I was like, I can't do it no more. Unless The Rock is on it, then I don't really. But or Stone Cold Steve Austin, they're my favorite, or Goldberg. But that was the last time I really watched it, because then after I realized it was fake, I was like, what were we watching it for? What are we watching it for? There's real basketball on. There's people throwing balls and stuff. Like, and then UFC got popping. So I was like, oh, dudes is actually kicking each other in the face for real? So watch this. Dude is actually getting bloody, like, for real. Their nose is broken. But the crazy part about it is, I don't know, like, they're crazy athletic. Like, WWE, like, they're crazy athletic. And I was like, and the stories are cool, too. But I never really watched it. I don't know what it is, but of course you know who all the wrestlers are. Even if you don't watch it, you know who they are. Like, you know their whole thing. So, of course, there's no avoiding it when you're a kid. There's no avoiding it. People are gonna talk about it, and then you gotta pretend you know it if you don't watch it.
So, tell me about the transition from elementary to middle school. What was it like? Not only that, like, did you struggle with a certain subject that was like your least favorite or something like that?
Oh man, well, I went to a bunch of grade schools. My mom was a teacher in Carson, so I went to school in Carson for a year when I was in kindergarten. Then I went to a Catholic school in Inglewood by my house. And then I went back to Carson And then after Carson, that ended at 5th grade, so I had to go to Maria Regina in Gardena, another Catholic school. But I had really good grades. Like, I was really smart. Like, school was easy for me. I was valedictorian of my class. I had a crazy year, 8th grade. I was like killing it. 8th grade was the last time I was really killing it in life. I was the valedictorian 8th grade. I was the school president, the football MVP. I led prayer and pledge every morning. But then I got to high school and I was like, oh, that school was just easy. This is way harder than I thought it was going to be. But before then, like middle school was easy, like crazy easy. Then I actually had to try, and then I didn't feel like trying.
Tell me about high school. How was it like?
Okay, now we're on high school. We're getting to the 13, 14-year-old range now. High school, I went to Bishop Montgomery in Torrance, and it's a really good school, like a really good private Catholic school. The principal was great. The staff was really cool. The kids in my class were all super dope. Like, everyone was dope. I just saw a few of them a couple of nights ago, and we were just talking about how dope our class was. But I tried to stay. I didn't have great grades because it's a really, really good academic school. Like, kids who go there, like, go to Harvard and, like, Stanford, all kinds of stuff. People in my class, like, crazy successful. But I didn't have great grades, so I just had to focus on, like, extracurriculars. So I just played football. I was doing shot put for track. I ended up being the coach low key because the coach never showed up, so I had to teach the whole team how to throw shot put. I did that. I was the senior class president senior year in campus ministry. I tried to stay busy, I guess is what it was, because I realized if I'm not going to have the grades, then I might as well have the extracurriculars to get into college. But shout out Bishop Montgomery.
We're going to take our first break, and we'll be right back.
Cool.
Hey beach fans, come check out the new Planet Fitness in Long Beach, the judgment-free zone on Zemeno Avenue. This Planet Fitness runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They have free and unlimited fitness training, as well as tons of cardio equipment.
Also, is it possible for you to send me some of these clips?
Join your judgment-free
All right,
zone.
cool. I'll
I
post them on
make it into a
Instagram and stuff.
YouTube video.
Oh, bet. All right, cool.
Did you know that more than 20% of students on Cal State campuses experience food insecurity while in college? Cal State Long Beach is doing something to help that with the Beach Pantry, which is located on the 3rd floor of the Student Union in room 302 and is open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and again from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Stop by for some food, snacks, and school supplies.
Quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
Hey, I'm Rob Flores, the host of the Golden Spotlight.
Hey, it's
Join
you.
me every Monday at 7 p.m.
Hey.
Pacific as I showcase a variety of guests.
I am what they refer to as an exoneree.
Hi, I'm Carla Perez, otherwise known as Rita Repulsa, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, a television series.
As people have told me before, like, you're really funny, you should try stand-up. And that's probably how every comedian
Who's that?
starts.
Took an EMT
What, the comedian?
course
Yeah.
6 months later,
Jacqueline
and the next thing
Passaro.
I know, I was a firefighter.
Jacqueline Passaro?
I studied
Yeah. Okay.
for a little while at the U.S. Institute of Peace.
Every week, someone steps into the spotlight and shares their story. You never know what we have in store on 22S Radio.
We are 22 West Radio. 22 West Radio is 22westmedia.com and 88.1 FM, KKJZ HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Golden Spotlight. Yes, we are back from break, and I'm back here with my guest. Yeah.
You think of my name? Aaron Monte.
No.
I guess.
I'm
Aaron
talking
Monte.
about the commercial.
Oh.
Sometimes people are like, I know we play other show commercials,
Oh.
and then they're like, dude, did you just seriously like play your own show commercial?
You're advertising yourself.
Yeah, I mean,
That's funny.
I squeeze in some too, but sometimes you have to play your commercial.
You got to support yourself. Who's gonna support you? You gonna support yourself? That's the question.
Oh man. So this is a new question I've like been incorporating too, but it's just funny because of the TV shows and pop culture and movies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever it involves high school and stuff, you have like these groups in the lunch area, like the nerds in one, the sporty ones in one, and all these other groups. Well, where did you associate with during lunch?
Oh man, that's a great question. At first I only hung out with black people at the school, with all the black dudes. That's at first, but then like I was cool with some of them, but I was like, man, we were only hanging out because we're black dudes. But it's not because we're actually friends. So after I didn't really mix with some of them like that. Like we didn't really get along like sometimes. So it was kind of weird. So I spent a lot of time with two of my good friends, like Brett Miller and lifelong friends, Brett Miller and Lauren Rogers. Shout out to them because they support me in my career like to this day. But they've been my friends for forever. Then at some point in time, I kind of started reaching out to different groups. I would hang out with the football players sometimes. I discovered at one point in time that there was like a whole other side to the school where like a bunch of people kicked it like at lunchtime, and once I discovered it, I was like, oh my god, it's everyone over here, like it's just all kicking here. So it was weird. It was a weird mix, and at the same time, our class was really cool, like of mingling with each other. So it was like you might see one person hanging out in one area one day, and then be the whole other area the next day. You know what I mean? So it was kind of cool. It wasn't like we were forcing ourselves to be around the same people over and over. It was just like, let's try to hang out with everybody because you never know who you're going to get along with and be good friends with like for the rest of your life. So that's what ended up happening. I think at the end of it, I ended up hanging out with everybody. I think, to be honest with you, I don't even think there was even specific groups by the time we had senior year. I think we all just, walking around, kicking it with anyone I could talk to, really, and trying to get at girls sometimes. But I was usually unsuccessful, actually, always. So, yeah, that's pretty much my whole thing. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Mm-hmm. So senior year comes, and did you get to participate in all that stuff like prom and all those activities?
Oh yeah, I was on homecoming court. I was on homecoming court, and senior year that was cool. I didn't win, but you try, you fail. My boy Danny Herrera won. Shout out to him. Prom was cool. I didn't really do anything on prom though. It was weird. Like our school was really strict at one point, and our class was kind of like troublesome. Our class was getting into a lot of trouble at one point, so they were kind of cracking down on anything we could do. So we had a lot of rules with dress code and all kind of crazy stuff. Like, so people weren't even looking forward to prom when it came around. And we all just went, and we were really just looking forward to hanging out afterwards. And we hung out and kicked it at one of the homies' house, and that was really it. Like we wasn't really, it was cool. It was cool. It wasn't like no crazy prom experience for me, at least. I'm sure some people had that, but I did not. Oh, but I went with, who did I go with to homecoming? I think Megan Gomez. Shout out to Megan Gomez. I'm just shouting out everybody. I don't remember who we went to prom with. Dang, they gonna be mad if they ever hear this. Anyways, done with that answer.
Okay. So the time comes in senior year where, people are usually like, what am I going to do after graduation? What school do I want to go to? What major do I want? What do I want to be? Like, what was that like for you?
First of all, I just remembered I went to prom with Samantha Judan. That's the homie. I just talked to her today. But I just forgot. So I didn't have great grades, and I was applying to a lot of Cal States because I knew that wait, what was it? Oh, I was applying at Cal States, and I was trying to figure out, and I know that they didn't really care about extracurriculars. It was more like grade point average for Cal States, but like private schools were looking for, extracurriculars. And I had focused on extracurriculars in high school and didn't have good grades, but I could not afford a private college. So I was like, oh man, what I'm gonna do? So I applied to a bunch of Cal States, and I wasn't getting into any of them. And I applied to Cal State Long Beach, and I wanted to go to Cal State Long Beach, because it was, it was a school that I was familiar with. My mom had gone there, and, I'd been there a few times. But I got a rejection letter, but then it was like they had an option on it to appeal it by just writing an essay. So I write the essay, and then like a few days later, I get an email saying, "Hey, you got in just because you wrote this essay." I'm like, "Oh, bro, I'm going to college. I'm going to Cal State Long Beach." So I ended up choosing Cal State Long Beach, and it was crazy because I was at one point thinking of going to school for football, and I was getting like looks from like Redlands and like Occidental College, and I didn't want to play football in college at all. I was like, man, I just want to get a degree. I don't have good knees or nothing like that. Like, there's no real football career coming to this. I'm just trying to get into college somehow. So I thought football was gonna be the way. And then the day I visited Redlands, I come back from the trip, and I was like, man, I'm about to end up at Redlands, man. It's gonna be whack, man. I'm gonna have to pay for all this. This is a D3 school. Don't even get a football scholarship out of it. And I got the email from Cal State Long Beach, and I was like, oh yeah, scratch all that. But we're going to Long Beach. That's it. We're doing it. So I ended up, coming here. Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. So you knew right away what your major was, or?
Not really, because I knew I wanted to be a writer. I knew I wanted to write books, and I wanted to write for TV. But I didn't really know. I felt conflicted because I felt like that was a hard career path. You know what I mean? Like, especially when you're young and you're like, dang, would that be worth it? Am I going to make money right away? Because that's really what you're thinking about in the beginning. So I was considering, I really liked philosophy when I got here. Like, I really liked philosophy. Like, I took so many philosophy classes. I was thinking of majoring in philosophy and then going into law school with it. Then I was also taking a lot of English classes because I knew I loved writing. I knew I wanted to be an author. But I didn't really know what was going to come, if I was going to be a teacher or be just a writer, which is actually like, you don't just apply to be a writer. You just keep writing stuff, and hopefully someone will like something that you wrote. Well, you can apply to be a writer, but if you're writing novels, you're just doing that on your own. But yeah, so I didn't really know what I was going to do for a while. I wasn't sure if I should go the law school route, if I should just really pursue what I really wanted to do. And eventually I just ended up choosing creative writing English because that was my favorite thing that I like to do. I like to write stories and have fun and be something that people are interested in. And that's crazy because everyone wants to read stories. Everyone wants to hear a story or something interesting. So I ended up choosing that. And then when I started doing that, I realized that a lot of my writing was very humorous. Of course, like everything I had already done before. Like when I start writing a story, I think it's gonna be serious, and then something in my head is just like, nah, this is a funny joke. You can put right here. You can put right here. And for some reason, I think it comes from me like trying to undermine myself because I think that where it came from was me trying to undermine myself because I didn't feel like confident as a writer. But then I realized I was like, nah, this is a strength. This is a strength that I can take any situation and even if I think it's going to be dramatic, and then find the joke in it. And that's what my writing all became. So that was cool.
What was it like having a dad in law enforcement and stuff, and was he like super strict with you guys? And I'm just imagining like he's like, you go to sleep like at 7 p.m. or something like that, or was he like strict curfews, anything like that? Or?
He wasn't. My dad's a really nice man. He's the sweetest man that I've ever known. It's kind of crazy now that I think about he was really always sweet, like always the nicest person. Everyone's ever around my dad has been like, I can't really tell. He looks like a cop. How cops look like they got, everything's, all the hair is all in place, like everything's good. But you can't really, by talking to him, you couldn't really tell. And I thought I was tripping out recently. I was like, man, like he's probably seeing some of the craziest things at work every single day of his life, and comes home like nothing happened. Like he comes home like, hey kids, what's going on? I'm like, bro, you just saw the craziest things that I could not even possibly imagine on the streets. And you just, you take it in stride, come home, and, you're the dad of the house. And, we all, it's kind of crazy. But he's also strict. Like, he's a clean freak. He's a clean freak. He's always cleaning the house. He's retired now, so he's always cleaning the house is spotless, always. He always wanted to make sure we're always squared away with everything we're doing. So he does have those qualities. Of course, he's a dad, He's going to make sure, we're walking the straight and narrow and doing everything we need to do. But he's really fun, and he's really sweet. So it was like... the job was just, he loved it, and he was helping the community, and that was what it was to him. So it wasn't like an overbearing thing for him. It was like, I'm doing this because I'm helping people, and and that's how he looked at it, and that's why I think he is the way he is.
Cool. How about your mom being a teacher, where she's all like, oh, like you could have done this essay better or this or anything like that?
That was stressful. I ain't gonna lie to you. Can you imagine being at school? First of all, I was at school with my mom already, so most of the years I was in school. And second of all, imagine having a teacher for 6 hours in the daytime, and then you come home to your mom who knows you got homework. You can't even lie to her and tell her you don't. You can't even try to hide it. She can be like, no, I know, because my friend is your teacher. So like, but she was really helpful though. Without her, I would have gotten the grades in grade school that I got. Like she didn't care as much in college. She was just like, well, you in college now, like you can figure, you got to do what you got to do. You an adult now, so do what you got to do. But coming up, she was always making sure we wrote things right, like made rough drafts and stuff. You know how you skipping the rough draft. You're like, I ain't writing a rough draft. I'm just gonna write the final one. But she always made sure we wrote rough drafts. Always made sure we focused and were neat with our work. Like, just, man, she made us write during the summer. Oh my God, she used to make us sit down and write in a journal, and I'm kind of appreciative of it now. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of crazy. Like when you're sitting there and your mom's like, you need to do something. You need to read something right now, and you need to write something before your brain rots during the summer and you go back to school.
Have you ever seen the show called Adam Ruins Everything?
I love that show.
Oh my gosh, man!
I love that show.
We watched the same stuff when we grew up. Adam's still now. Oh my gosh, do you watch Impractical Jokers?
Of course.
Oh my gosh.
Of course.
Cool.
Of course.
But
I just did a show with someone who
everything.
worked on the
Yeah.
Practical Jokers. I did a show at Flappers like a week last week, and I was like, oh, that's what's up. But yeah, I love that show.
Yeah, I remember there was an episode where Adam talks about how like time off in summer's bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one.
It like
I'm behind.
we like
the loop.
forget things.
Dang.
I'm like, oh.
Well, see, that's why my mom made sure I did not forget nothing. She never forgot. It was crazy because she knows all the curriculums of every grade, regardless of what district you in. She knows you got to do something. It was crazy, man. But it was stressful. But I'm glad she did it because I feel like my comprehension levels are through the roof. Feel like I can. Oh, you remember those crazy tests where you had to figure out how fast you could read? That doesn't help anything at all.
That just reminded me how slow I was every. I'm like, it's not my fault. My dad only went to third grade, okay?
I used to hate that, man. Like, how does this help us? Why do we ever need to read fast in life? It was like a big thing too. Like you had to do it. Anyways, that was a side note, but my mom was great. She was always making sure I was on my business. Both my parents did really. Well, my mom's scarier than my dad though. She got that teacher swag. So when you're a kid, that really gets you. They get you worse than police swag when you're a kid. Police swag scares you when you're an adult. Teacher swag scares you when you're a kid. I don't know. I just made that up.
So, your siblings, as far as like what route they chose and stuff, what was your parents' reactions to each of your routes that you guys decided to take?
Oh man, this is a good question. Okay, so my sister just graduated from occupational therapy school, and she just got a job at a little company in Mary doing occupational therapy. And my brother is about to graduate from the police academy, like he always wanted to do, in November. My mom and dad didn't necessarily want my brother to become a police officer, but my dad was like, "Hey, listen, you want to do it because you want to help people, and it's a good career path. Like you're gonna get paid, you're gonna be good." And he's like, "Yeah." So my mom's also nervous about that, but her husband was a police officer her whole life, so she'll be able to handle him doing it. My sister, she's killing it. She's doing her thing. She's killing it out here. And mine, they're skeptical of it because it's such a slow path to success. You know what I mean? Like comedy is really slow. Like you got to grind for like 10 years before you really make headway on nothing. And luckily I'm starting to make headway now within like the first 5 years, but it still ain't nothing like what I want it to be, and it also ain't the only job that I have right now. So I think my parents' concern for me was that I would lose too much money before, and time would be wasted by pursuing the career. But at the same time, they understand it's like, well, this is your dream, and at the end, if you think it's going to pay off, and you're working as hard as you are, and you're doing as well as you are, then you're going to pull it off. So I kind of feel like they feel both ways, but they're just, they get a little nervous about it. But at the same time, they understand that they know I'm a hard-working person and persistent, so they know what's going to go down.
Again, commercial.
Commercial time.
But yeah, I was wondering, like, what was your least favorite subject, but what was your favorite one?
My least favorite, anything with math. I think the worst subject I've ever had was chemistry. Senior year was the worst thing I've ever done in my life. The vocabulary part's super easy in chemistry. That's easy. You can memorize words and definitions all day long. But the math part, I was not having it. And then I cheated my way through the final and got a C, baby. You know what I'm saying? Ha-ha. My favorite was... You mean in any grade level of school?
Mm-hmm.
My favorite subject ever, man, it had to have been a course in college for sure. But what would it be? First class I ever took here was public speaking. I really liked that class. That's when I kind of learned I want to be a stand-up comedian, low-key. Public speaking here at Cal State Long Beach on a Friday morning, which I didn't realize college students didn't take Friday classes.
Morning,
I didn't realize that was a thing. I remember that was the first class I ever had, was a Friday morning, and everyone was like, wait, you got to go to school today? And I was like, yeah, I got to go. And they're like, you took school on a Friday? And I was like, oh, I didn't realize we could decide not to do that. So I'm over here every morning, 8 a.m., Friday morning, every week. But then I liked public speaking. I liked the professor a lot. I forgot what his name was also, but he was a great professor. And that's when I fell in love with speaking in front of crowds, really. And that's when I found I wanted to be a comedian. And also I took the intro to acting class here. I can't remember my professor's name there. I'm losing all points here with Cal State Long Beach. But my professor was amazing. I can't remember her name, but she was in Holes. She was the lawyer in Holes, and she was on Nip Tuck, but I cannot remember what her name is, and I loved her so much. And she called me Denzel because he's doing Denzel Washington impression. But she was dope, and she taught us always get out of your comfort zone. And the main lesson I learned from that was, if you're in your comfort zone, then you're not living really, and you got to get out your comfort zone and do anything. I think that's one of the lessons that I took the most from college in general. And also Tyler Diltz, who was the creative writing professor here, is incredible. And his class taught me a lot, and that's when I really fell in love with writing. So, I don't know, man. College was kind of good. I really liked it a lot. Shout out to Cal State Long Beach here.
Cool. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Cool.
Celebrating and supporting the spiritual journey of departed friends and family, Beach Pride Events presents its Dia de los Muertos event on October 31st. The event happens at USU Southwest Terrace from 12 to 2 p.m. for music, food, activities, and crafts. Visit asicsulb.org or view the Beach Pride event calendar for more information.
What happened to bless the Lord? And why can't I listen to Beach Center?
Well, we switched hours. You can now listen to Bless the Lord at 2 p.m.
And you can listen to Beach Center reports and the gospel music at 1 p.m.
So after you listen to some boring reports, come listen to Bless the Lord.
Here on 22 West Radio and
22westmedia.com.
Have some fun.
Adios every Wednesday. Woo!
Get ready, because I'm tagging you in to tune in to 22 West Radio every Monday night at 6 p.m. Pacific.
Oh, yeah!
As myself, Ralph Flores, James Williams, and Ethan Ortiz discuss everything related to the professional wrestling industry.
That was great! Yeah! Right to the kisser! Quiet, McMahon, I'm trying to watch this!
So don't miss a single episode of Beyond the Ropes.
My name is Rachel Hanna, and I'm a fourth-year journalism major at Long Beach State, and you're listening to 22 West Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Golden Spotlight. We are broadcasting live from California State University, Long Beach. Now, back to my interview. Whoop, did I write that down? 37. Yes, because, again, like when we're doing our show, we're also writing down what time we played stuff. So, okay, so you mentioned, how college was great experience and stuff, but another thing is that I'm wondering, obviously, books are expensive. And
right.
Did you have to balance work at the same time? I like to call this the timeline segment, and it's pretty much listing all the jobs you've held leading to where you are today.
Oh man, okay. So let's go through it. First job I had was was freshman year of college. I was trying to buy a car. I was working at Vaughn's in Gardena. It was terrible. I hated it. The managers were garbage. I worked the night shift in the meat department every night. I get off, okay, so I go to school 6 a.m., get off like 6 p.m., then I got to go to work at like 7 and work till like 1 in the morning, get off work, and then do homework, and then go to sleep and get up at 6 a.m. again. So it was the worst month of my life. I got fired after a month because I wasn't able to keep up. But I had that job. Then I started doing undergrad research opportunity program, which is a program here at Cal State Long Beach for undergrads to work with professors on their research project and get paid for it. So I started doing that. I started working for that for Laurel Richmond, a professor. I don't know if she's still here, but Professor Laurel Richmond on researching food deserts and food inequalities in poor and urban areas. And so I was looking up statistics on that, and it was the very beginning stages of her project. I was working on that, and then I was also working at Sprouts in Redondo Beach at the same time. So when I was at school, I'd go between classes to go do some research with Dr. Richmond, and then get off work and go to work at Sprouts. And after that, I became a peer advisor for Europe for the other students and the freshmen and sophomores coming in for the Europe program. And I did that along with Sprouts for like the next two years. I think junior, senior year I did that too. Kept going to Sprouts. After that, graduated, so I wasn't able to work at Europe. Wish I could have. I was trying to finesse my way and do it, but I couldn't figure out how to do it and stay. I couldn't work unless I was a student. So I got out of college, kept working at Sprouts. Then I got my teaching credentials, so I became a substitute teacher. So now that's what I do currently is substitute teach during the school year, during the day, and then during nighttime, get my Batman on and go do some comedy.
What was it like, the process to become a substitute?
It's pretty easy. You just gotta have a college degree. Then you gotta take what's one of those tests? I don't know. One of those tests you gotta take. It's like a fake SAT. It's like a short SAT. It's easy. It's like if you had to take the SAT as a 21-year-old person. You know what I mean? It's probably way easier than when you're like 18 or whatever. Whenever you take it.
I'm scared of the math.
You know what? That's the one part I had to study. The one part I had to study was the math. I knew I was going to kill it on the writing and the other thing, but I was like, man, I got to buy a whole book to go study for this math. So I studied for the math, and then I did well on the test. So then I applied to LAUSD. It took like months, so I was broke for months. I didn't have no job for a while, and then finally they got back to me in like November. And then started working for them. And then we had like one training day. But really, substitute teaching, you just got to learn as you go. There's no way that anyone can train you to deal with 30 kids in one room. It's like they can give you techniques that might work, but that comes with time. You know what I mean? Like you learn how to get kids' attention or hold their attention. But there's nothing you can really do to teach it. You just got to figure it out. You figure out what works for you. Because even then, there's some skills that teacher might teach you in you'll be like, oh, I tried that, it didn't work. So you got to figure out your own thing, whatever works for you, and be fun. That's all you got to do. Kids like fun, and if it's not fun, then they're not going to care about what you have to say. And so if you want kids to, be influenced by you in a positive way, you got to speak to them. You know what I mean? Like to them, relate to them, and that's really all it is. You just learn that as you go, and then kids aren't that complicated. They are, but they're not that complicated. You can get them as long as you're trying to understand them. You'll understand them, but if you're not, then you won't. Yeah.
So, what got you into like? I always ask comedians this. I don't know. I started off this way. I say, how'd you get into comedy? Did you get dared? Did you get dared to go on stage? How did it happen?
You know what it was? Okay. So when I found out I wanted to be a writer, I think it was in Professor Dilt's class, actually, when I really wanted to write for TV. And when it came to me, I was like, man, I think that I want to be a writer for TV for sure. And I knew that a lot of writers were stand-up comedians first. I figured if I started doing stand-up comedy, then eventually I'd find myself in a writing room somewhere, so for a TV network or something. And So I was like, all right, well, now first things first, how do I get on stage? So I Googled it for like a while. I Googled it, and I was actually during Europe when I was a sophomore, I think, and I was talking to my peer advisor, Juan Gonzalez, about it. I went to him. I think he was one of the first people I told here, right down there at the Brotman Hall. And I was like, man, I think I'm going to do stand-up. And he was like, well, go try it. I was listening. Again, we both like Bill Burr, the comedian Bill Burr. So he was like, yeah, man, Bill Burr talks about it all the time. All you got to do is try it. Go do it. So eventually I found an open mic in at Sal's Comedy Hole in Hollywood, on Melrose, and it's a cafe in front, and I didn't know where the stage was. Like, it's just like a cafe, but then you go to the back and it's a huge, like, massive room, and it was an open mic. And I went in, I didn't even sign up. I just sat down and watched the open mic, watched everyone go up, work out their jokes, and leave. And then, like, everyone's going up and leaving, and then I'm the last person sitting there, and the guy who's hosting the show was like, all right, is there any more comics? Is that it? Is that it? And he looks at me, he's like, you going up? I was like, oh, no, I'm just here. And he was like, oh, you just here to watch? I was like, yeah, I'm just here to watch. And he was like, all right, I guess you're a fan of comedy. All right. And so, because it's an open mic and no one's really killing it. It's just trying to figure out your jokes. And I was like, yeah. So then I was like, all right. I was too nervous to go at that time. So finally I was just like, all right, next time I go, I'm just going to go and sign up and do it. And I went and signed up and did it, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I didn't do great, of course not. I didn't do good at all, but I just went up there and talked about something I thought was funny. And with the best part about it to me, then and still now about comedy, is that you can see everyone when they're looking at you and they're interested. Like, they give you like there's like a sparkle in their eyes, and they're looking at you and they're like really listening to what you're saying. And that was what got me. That was what hooked me that day. I saw other comedians in the crowd like really listening to what I had to say. And it wasn't even a good conclusion to what I was saying. Like, it was like a real big letdown of a joke, but people were listening, and that was what got me hooked. And I was like, all right, I want to keep doing this.
Now, how about like getting your name out there? What did it? How is it like? When did you get more comfortable with figuring out like how to book yourself out there, how to get your name out there, and all that?
Oh, that is all literally legwork. Like, you just gotta be out in the streets doing things, and that's really only come within the past year or two for me. To be honest with you, I'm like 4 years, about to be 5 years in, and the hardest part for me was getting people to know you. And my real last name is spelled real difficult, and the hardest part for me was getting people to pronounce it correctly. So I couldn't figure out how to, write it down. Because when you start off doing comedy, no one cares how to pronounce your name. They just see the name, they're like, Aaron, blah, 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 I'll get on stage. And like, they don't care. So then I was trying to figure out how to spell my name. And I finally figured out how to Monte, so I spell my name, Monte. It's the same name, but spelled differently, my real last name. And after I figured that out, I was like, okay, hopefully this will make it easier for people to get me. And then people that knew me were like, what's his last name you spelling it like? Why are you spelling it like that? I'm like, man, it's just trying to get people to know who I am. That's all it is. I just want people to say my name and hear it correctly. That's all I want. And then aside from that, the past year or two, you just gotta be out there in the streets. Go to people's shows. Like, go to anyone's show. If you know of a show or you know someone on a show, go to it and talk to people, That's really all you can do. Go to it, talk to people, be on Instagram. Hashtags are important, apparently. And hashtags get you people to come to your stuff and see you. Yeah, and then on top of that, you got to get in the gym and just work out your jokes. You got to get in the gym. You got to go to open mics. You got to keep practicing, even if you don't want to, because open mics are not fun. But you go there, and that's where you meet people, because you see people, and they're like, hey, man, you cool, I'm cool, let's kick it, let's do a show, whatever.
Time is going by so fast, but
is it?
Obviously, I'm pretty excited about this one question. We've been, obviously, it's a bio show, but
right.
At the same time, I'm excited to ask you about like your parody news. Tell us about that parody news.
So
show.
I have a parody news show on blurredculture.com. Which is I believe it's a Complex website, something like that. It's associated with Complex. It's not official, but the guy who runs my boy Pete Sobat, who created the show, came to me to ask me. Well, my cousin works for the guy who created the show on blurredculture.com, and was like, "Hey man, you want to host this show? It's kind of like the Daily Show, but 5 minutes on the internet." And I was like, "Well, man, nothing I do is really political, but I'll try it out. Let's see. Might as well try it." I tried it, and it was really rough in the beginning. It was not good. I did not have my political comedy chops up in the slightest. But now it's kind of growing. We're trying to get it going more often. We got like 20-something thousand views on the fewer videos. Like on my Instagram, people come back to watch videos all the time. Like someone just liked one of my old videos like on Instagram, like before I came in here. But it's a lot of fun. Like it's something I get to do where it's a challenge, because I go in and I write the show. We find news stories together, me, my cousin, and Pete. We sit there, we find news stories together, And then we're like, all right, what you think? And then I sit there and I write all the jokes out, just sit there and write. Then we get up, go in the studio with the green screen, and then I just say the jokes. Then I just go through it while he's filming. And if it's great, then it's great. Then if I got to do a couple takes, But it's a lot of fun, And it's something that I think that it's an untapped market. It's like there's not really that many people on the internet doing daily show type stuff, unless I haven't seen it, But I think it's pretty fun. I think it's a niche that I like,
How long did it take to figure out that rap one of the Tekashi one and the fruits and all that stuff?
Oh man, what's crazy? All of those jokes are thought of within like 10 minutes. That joke probably took, what did I say? I do remember. And some of them I just make up on the spot. Like with Tekashi, when I started rapping like Tekashi, I just making that up, Because sometimes I write a joke and be like, all right, that's cool on paper, but ain't nobody gonna laugh at it if I just say it like it is on paper. So then I'm like, all right, let me act up, let me just start going crazy and, add a little spice to it. But all those jokes come quick, unless there's like, sometimes I'll have the paper out. You can never see the paper, but sometimes on the paper I'll have like 7 lines just scratched out because I just redid the whole joke in the middle of me writing the joke. But that took me like probably 5 minutes, that one. Because that was easy. I'm like, how you gonna go into witness protection looking like that, bro? There's no way. That one's just handing me the joke. Handing me the joke right there. Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm. The other question I ask, and it's a 2-parter.
Okay.
It's where do you see yourself after retirement? And what do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, man, after retirement. Damn. Okay. Oh, I can't say that, huh? Dang. All right. After retirement, I want to live on a river somewhere. That's what I want to do. I want to live on a river somewhere. If I'm married, then cool. If not, then so be it. But, live in a river with a Jack Russell. I think that's what I'm going to do. Maybe in Louisiana. That's where my family's from, Louisiana. So I'll probably go there, live there. I might want to be a professor. I would want to be a comedy professor of some sort. Like, or an English. Because I had a professor here. He was an English class, but it was a history of comedy. And it was great. Oh, my God. It was such a fun class. That's where I developed a lot of my writing skills. But I would want to do something like that after retiring from doing stand-up. I would love to just teach a class somewhere at a college or something. That'd be cool. And what was the other joke? What was the other question?
What would you like your legacy
Oh, my legacy to be? Oh, man. I want to be able to have used every form of, like, every medium of art and inject comedy into it. Like, I want to be able to have, like, critically acclaimed films, like, that, that can be, because I feel like the comedy isn't respected in a lot of mediums of art. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of the time comedies and the Oscars get snubbed a lot of the time. I want to be able to bring comedy into all mediums of art and have it respected as everything. Like, even if there's a way for me to make funny paintings, I'll do that. Get them in museums, I'll do that. If I can figure out how to win Grammys for musical comedy, I'm gonna do that. If I can figure out how to win Oscars from movies with comedies, then that's what I want to do. I want to be able to make sure people take comedy seriously, because it's one of the best, modes. I think is what we would call comedy, is a mode, I guess. I don't really know. I guess it's one of the best genres of art in general. So I kind of want it to be more at the forefront. That's my goal.
Who have been some of your inspirations as far as comedians?
Oh man. Okay. As far as comedians, I'm gonna give you my Mount Rushmore is what I'm gonna do. I knew this was coming. I wasn't prepared because it changes all the time. My Mount Rushmore right now is Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Dave Chappelle, and Bo Burnham. That's my favorite 4 comedians.
And do you also let's say watch what is it, like Netflix specials and SNL, stuff like that?
Man, Netflix specials are saving my life right now, man. Honestly, that and like Deion Cole's special on Netflix was incredible. It just came out like a couple days ago, and Deion Cole's been one of my favorite comedians for a long time. But man, that had me rolling. Dave Chappelle specials are always great. Aziz Ansari special was great this year. Like, man, Netflix specials are doing it big. That's really what I depend on to watch comedy, or YouTube Just for Laughs. The YouTube channel for Just for Laughs is amazing. Like any old comedy, I'll watch the same specials over and over and over if I like it. Like, so that's really all I watch is comedy.
Cool. What about obviously you mentioned parodies and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, did you get to like also check out like Weird Al?
Oh man, Weird Al's the best. I love Weird Al. You know, whenever I tell people I make comedy music, they think Weird Al first, but I'm like, all right, well, yeah, but he does like straight up parodies, and his are genius. Like, he's a musical genius. He's a hilarious musical genius. I guess he's one of my influences too, a little bit. You know, just wordplay. His wordplay is crazy. Like, his wordplay is crazy. His accordion game is stupid. Like, how he played the accordion so well. Like, he's really great, and I don't know where he got his stuff, you know, where he was inspired by, but man, he's inspirational as hell. I can't say that either, can I? I'm sorry, I'm losing it slowly. But yeah, him, I really love Weird Al. I really like Lil Dicky. He's an inspiration of mine for musical comedy. Afro Man, he's not really a musical comedian, but he's hilarious as a rapper. And I guess, could he be considered a music? I don't know, but I love Afro Man. Yeah, man, I just like silly artists, and I think that's what made me want to do musical comedy, is because music ain't got to be so serious all the time. We can have some fun, talk about some silly stuff, talk about something that no one talks about, and you know, people are gonna laugh and have fun with it. You know?
Also, of course, we have to plug, you know, how, you know, to find you and stuff like that too. Right. How can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram or on Twitter at @TheRealAaronMon. I'm not going to spell it out. The Real Aaron, AARONMON. The Real Aaron Mon. You can find my the Late Great Show episodes on blurredculture.com. You can also find my music video and my music single on Spotify and iTunes called Girls with Kids. It's a great video. It's a cute video. You'll love it. I released it for Mother's Day this year. And there'll be more on the way. And look up my video on YouTube, Blurred Culture as well. Look out for my music. And yes, just be my friend.
Anything coming up?
Oh yeah, I got a show Sunday, November 10th at the Ice House. That's my next show coming up. Then November 22nd, I will be at the Comedy Store. So that's a Friday. So if you want to come through to that, that's gonna be fun.
Cool. Mm-hmm. I know that it's so fun because like I've been interviewing comedians also as of late here, and I find it so interesting when they mention, you know, that. Because I never knew that there were so many different types of venues. Yeah. I remember one of the comedians mentioned there was like a comedian place where it's like a laundromat at the same time. Another person mentioned cruise ships. Right. Like, you know, I can only imagine all the different stories of the types of venues that, you know, the comedian has been in. You have any, you know, funny stories?
Man, let me think. I'm out in LA. There will be a comedy show anywhere. Like anywhere. Like in the middle of a bar, you just be... I've been to shows where you just standing there at a sports bar trying to get people to stop watching football to listen to you tell jokes, and they're not gonna stop. You be there, hey, you listening? No? Okay. And then, but it's your time, so it's like, I guess I'll just stand up here and do these 10 minutes, regardless of people listening. Everyone trying to watch the Jets game, and you're sitting there going, what about airplane food? Like, it's kind of crazy, man. I'm trying to think what's the wildest one I've had. I did a show in San Diego, and in the middle of it, they had a wing challenge where they just made this lady eat wings in 2 minutes. And that was the part where everyone was focused on. Like, no one was listening to the rest of the show except for when she came out. They're like, yeah, eat the wings, eat the wings. I was like, what does she win? Who is she competing against? What is the deal here? What's going on? But shout out Adam Love. I love that dude, man. He put me on the show. But yeah, man, it's kind of crazy. The climate of comedy is in LA is like, man, we just try to make, if we can find a place where we can set up a microphone and a speaker, we're gonna throw a show. That's how it is here. Cause it ain't like New York. We ain't got all the clubs like New York has. So it's like, we make it work when we can. It's pretty cool.
I always like to think that I always say you never know who can be listening, and chances are there's, you know, someone who's listening and they're like, you know, this person has the same interests I got. They pursued the same degree, or they're in the same career that I want. What tips do you have for the person that wants to be the next you?
Oh man, don't be the next me. Be the first you. First of all. But if you want to do it, you just got to do it. Like, there's really no excuses for nothing. Like, I feel like a lot of time when I was first starting out, I was making a lot of excuses for not doing it, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be where I want to be unless I start really hustling and doing it. Like, whatever it is, I got to figure out. If I got to go. Right now, I have to get back on Facebook so I can reconnect with the comedy community on Facebook. And I haven't been on Facebook in 8 years. So I'm like, man, if this is what's going to get me going in this world, I'm gonna get back on Facebook. So really, all it is, you know, if you want to do it, you got to figure out how to do it. Like, and try to make your own lane too. Try to figure out something that makes you different from everybody else. And chances are you are different from everybody else because you're your own person. So, you know, just do it. Just put your nose to the grindstone and just do whatever it is you want to do. Shia LaBeouf, just do it. You know.
You're definitely standing out on the Los Angeles comedian hashtag because that's how I found you.
Oh man, am I? Okay, cool. I'm glad to hear it. I was wondering how you found me, low key.
Yeah, I'm constantly looking for people from different professions, but sometimes I'll mix it up and look through a hashtag.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll just look up something like Long Beach or Los Angeles, and then I'll add the profession to it.
Oh,
and
man.
that's how sometimes I'll find it.
I'm gonna keep on tagging cities then.
Yeah.
I guess I'll keep on. I'm gonna tag different cities, so everyone. I'll tag like Albuquerque, and they'll be like, "Well, you must be an Albuquerque comedian."
Well, time goes by so fast.
It
Again,
does.
the hour just like this. I used to be chicken too when I first started the show. A show in Cerritos College, and we had the CD player. We didn't have equipment as fancy as this,
Mhm.
but yeah.
Hey,
Unfortunately,
moving up.
Yeah, we ran out of time, and
Yeah.
but thank you so much for being on the show.
Of course. Yeah, man. Anytime.